Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, Mariposa Homeschool. And today we're going to talk about time management and tips that I have used to manage my time a little bit better as a full-time working mother who also homeschools. So if you are interested, please stay tuned. Hi guys, and my name is Jatara. And as you saw, we're going to be talking about time management and how we can manage our time a little bit better as parents who work full time but also try to homeschool our children. So, one of the things that I wanted to let you guys know is, of course, everyone's homeschool is different, and also everyone's homeschooling schedule, everyone's work schedule, it's all different. These are tips that I have just used or have learned along the way from homeschooling that have helped me in the past. My biggest tool or tip that I could give to someone who is working full time but also homeschooling is to use a planner. I have mentioned my planners several times, and there isn't a specific one that I would recommend anyone using. Whatever you feel works best for you. Whatever planner works best for you, or that you can write down your obligations during your work week, is something that I would highly recommend. My children are also in extracurriculars. We have church activities or in events that we attend. We serve in church, and my work schedule is not the same every day. So it is extremely important to know where we're supposed to be and when we're supposed to be there. When I first started homeschooling my children, I absolutely loved the idea of, letting my children wake up naturally and starting school about 9 a.m. and then, letting them finish school when they were just naturally done. And then I would get my work done in the evenings. And we did that for our first year of homeschooling. What I realized is that my children do not work their best early in the morning. Um, it's harder for them to get up and straight, from getting up to getting ready and getting their teeth brushed and meals eaten, and then, be in a schoolroom by 9 a.m. They didn't enjoy that. So, probably our second, maybe our, no, definitely our second year of homeschooling, I realized that we needed to start later in the day. So I was able to change my work schedule around for that. But, don't be afraid to think outside the box. If you have to school in the evening, that's fine. You're allowed to do that. If you have to school on weekends, that's fine. You're allowed to do that. So just don't be afraid to think outside of the box. You are not confined to a specific time or of the day or days of the week that you have to schedule homeschooling. As long as it fits around your schedule is basically what we're trying to accomplish. My third tip I would say for being on time management would be a timer. We have used several different timers. I recently purchased a timer from Temu, which we have been using every single day in our homeschool. I absolutely love it. It was maybe $2, but we use that. The timer is for our homeschool. It stays here. Let me grab it actually. So this is our little mini timer that we got from Temu. It was just a couple dollars. You can put it on here for minutes or seconds. There's a little stand, so it does stand up when we want it to. But it's very useful because when we want to practice our flashcards, or I want my son who's in fifth grade to read, or I'm telling my daughter who's in preschool that she's going to be silently playing with manipulatives or toys or fidgets for a few minutes while I work with her brother, then we want to be on schedule. And when that timer goes off, we know it's time to change. It's a good reminder for them, and it's a good reminder for me as well. We've also used our Amazon Alexa in the past. Of course, I've used my cell phone, but I love having a specific timer for the homeschool. It doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't get lost. And it's also less distracting for me because once I pick up my phone, I start looking to see who's texting or start looking at notifications, and then I'm off doing something else. So it is very useful to have just a timer or like an Alexa that you can set the timer for certain tasks. It doesn't have to be your whole day, but definitely for certain tasks, it can be very useful to keep you on schedule. Okay, so another tip is if you are homeschooling multiple children at the same time, to try to get the child that you're currently working with one on one. If they're, different subjects, you work with one child one on one. The other child is set up to do something independently, whether that is reading for an older child, doing copy work. For my preschooler, it could be something like playing with Play Doh, coloring. She does tracing worksheets, something like that, that she's able to do on her own until I'm able to work with her. That way, the subjects are getting done, and one child is just not sitting and waiting for you while the other child is working one on one. So everyone is getting work done, um, at different times while you're working with another child. Okay, so the next tip that I could give for time management would be to not be afraid to break up certain lessons that go a little bit longer in your subjects or something that your child struggles with more. Don't be afraid to break up those lessons instead of trying to squeeze it all into one day. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, your child is on lesson 25 in language arts. And I'm using language arts as an example because we do this very often in our language arts. We use the good and the beautiful. And there's multiple components to the Good and the Beautiful Language Arts program. They have spelling and writing and geography and tons of different things all packed into their language arts curriculum. It does take my son longer to get through the language arts curriculum because there is so much of it. It's so comprehensive. So, what we will do is usually do our reading for the day and maybe a page or two. If it takes us into a different spelling workshop or a writing workshop, I will go ahead and just say we're going to pause on the language arts for the day after we have done other things with the language arts, and then we'll pick it back up where we left off the next day. So if there are lessons that take your child longer or subjects that they struggle a little bit more in, don't be afraid to break up those lessons and just maybe do half and then pick it back up the next day. That will definitely keep you on schedule with making sure you get in all of the subjects or all of the material that you want to get in for one day. And my last tip would to be flexible. Um, there are times where you're going to try something out and it's not going to work the way that you wanted it to or hope that it would. So don't be afraid to try something new. We have a hard start time to our days every week. We start at 11 a.m. every day. that is not something that I wanted to do. I wanted to let my children naturally wake up in the morning and start school when everybody had breakfast and was happy and energized and ready to go. But with me working full time, it just, there was no way for that to happen. And that was something I really had to just, I had to let that idea go. It wasn't going to work. And so, that's what I mean by be flexible. Don't beat yourself up about things that, you tried and it just didn't work out. Another thing, too, with being flexible is there are some families who don't need a start time or an end time. And then there's going to be families who need to schedule every single subject to keep yourself on schedule. And, like for example, if you do reading for 20 minutes, you start reading at a certain time, you set a timer. Once reading that timer goes off, reading is done. We're moving on to the next subject. And I know that sounds harsh and like we don't want to have to do that, um because that's what they do in public school and that's what we're not trying to get away from. But if you want to be able to get in certain subjects, then and make sure everything gets done, then that might be something that you have to start with and then maybe start pulling back on your timer or something like that. So there are tons of ways that um, you can be flexible and maybe start something one way and maybe transition into something different once you get comfortable with it. So, yeah, there's lots of different ways. We don't want to be held to a super strict schedule, but for some of us, that's how it works out best. And if it works out best for you, there's nothing wrong with that. And, we all just want to make sure we're schooling our children, they're getting a great education from us. And we also have to get our work in, we have to get the bills paid. So, those are my tips. I am so thankful that you have watched my video. I truly hope that this helps someone out there who is struggling with managing their time. I know that it's not easy to work full time and also try to make sure that our children are getting a really good education. We don't take this lightly. And it's really important to, every parent wants their child to get a good education. And if you have any questions or would like to comment and give extra tips, please leave them in the comments down below. Again, I'm going to ask that if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. It is a free way that you're able to support my channel. And it also helps my channel get out there to other parents who are needing this content to reach them. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.